This is UMass basketball.
I know this. I'm the most animated coach that you've probably ever seen.
Diggins, he'll let it fly. Soft as summer rain. Rasul Diggins grows the UMass lead.
Hey, he's just being Frank.
And welcome back to another episode of Just Being Frank, presented by the Massachusetts Collective, providing NIL opportunities for UMass men's and women's basketball programs and players. My name's Jay Burnham, voice of the Minutemen, alongside head coach Frank Martin. And Coach, good to see you. How you doing?
I'm not as chipper as I usually am when I do this show with you, Jay. It's that time of year where I get a little beat up from practice. I'm not 40 years old anymore.
The grind is on. We are just about a week away from the first game of the season. And a couple things I really want to dive into on this episode, but really we have some box score to get into on your exhibition game against Providence. So I want to talk a lot about that. What was your overall, I guess, takeaway from your time playing the Friars this past weekend?
I thought it was something really, really good for our team, something that we needed. This team has been really good with its daily approach. For whatever reason, the day before the Providence game, we I don't know, we were sensitive. That's the best word I can use. The physicality of the practice got guys whiny, and we hadn't had that all year, and I just let it be. I didn't say a word. And we went out and kind of played that way. Like we wanted to, like the guys were excited to play. It's not like we had guys that are like, pissing and moaning. They just, we played against a high level basketball team that's got a high major size. And it was a really physical game. And we did some really good things. I mean, we shot 29 free throws. If you remember last year when we played those big physical teams, we never get to the foul line. So we got to the line. I thought defensively this team has a chance to be really, really good. I think we play with force. I think we play with tremendous length, and we got to be a little more disciplined with our rotations when people beat us. But that's part of the, sometimes people worry about rotations and they never get good at what matters, which is the initial hit. We've worried about the initial hit a lot to make sure we do everything we can to prevent from people attacking us. But when they attack us now, we got to be more disciplined on our backside rotation. So that's something that comes with time and practice and repetition. But I like our team. I think we play with a physicality and a team-minded approach that's a lot of fun.
I don't know how much people put into the stats in these games. You see it a lot of times where, they'll play an exhibition, and I think you guys you played shortened halves, correct?
Yes, we only play 16-minute halves.
Okay, and final score, Providence 63, UMass 54. When you look at some individual numbers, I got the box score that was shared online. Maleka Delgowad, the Murray State transfer, we talked about him in the summer, how you had chatted with him last year about coming to UMass, didn't get an opportunity to play a ton last season at Murray State. 11 points, 11 rebounds, double-double, not bad for that guy to make his UMass debut.
Yeah, Malik's an older player. He's played international basketball. He understands how to play. He's very comfortable playing near the rim. That's why I thought he was a great fit for us a year ago, and that's why when he called me, wanted to come this year, that's why we took him now, because he fits the way we want to play. He's got to convert more than 2 shots out of 10. Like we can't go 2 for 10. But to me, that's a positive. That we found him to take 10 shots, because it's not like he's dribbling the ball up the court and just shooting bad shots. We got to get him the ball. So he's got to convert more than 2 out of 10 shots. And then another positive is shot 11 free throws. That means he's playing with force at the rim, offensively, rebounding, like, he's doing things that are creating fouls, and which is so important that we developed that, because that's one of the things we lost with the departures, were the guys that used to create force on the rim on offense and shoot free throws. So to see him do those things was important.
26 minutes for Jalen Curry, setting up to be a big year for him. 13 points, 5 steals, 5 of 5 from the free throw line. How did you, I guess, work him and Marquis Worthy? Was it mostly Curry running point for those 26 minutes? Would Worthy get a chance to kind of chime in there as well?
Yeah, I mean, when Jalen's in the game, he's going to be at the point 90% of the time. Him and Rasul, Marquis to a certain extent, but more him and Rasul have developed a little cohesion where if Rasul gets the ball, Jalen runs, and if Jalen gets the ball, Rasul runs. And I don't know if I'm really comfortable with that one yet. Not because of the players, but because then guys start they both decide to go run. Then we got nobody looking for the outlet, and or now they're both looking for outlet passes, and one of them isn't running. So I don't know if we're deep enough into their careers and games played and practices together to create that kind of trust. But they're kind of doing it a little bit, and they haven't messed it up. So, I've talked to them about it, but if they can figure it out, it's something I'm at peace with.
I see 4 blocks here for Shadeed Muhammad. Again, I don't think this game wasn't televised. Unfortunately, we couldn't broadcast it. I think Providence had a radio broadcast going. How did he look in his UMass exhibition debut?
Yeah, I mean, if he can get near the rim defensively, he's a problem. Because he's got great timing, and he's got the ability to bounce up off the ground really quick, and he's really long. Like he might be 6'10", 6'11" height, but he's like 7'4", 7'5" reach, which is what matters. Yep. You and I laugh about this sometimes. You don't coach guys to jump up and block shots with their head. It's like, how long are you? And that's he's good there. He's got to continue to develop offensively. He's got to understand what we're doing on offense. He's got to understand how to be a more complete offensive player. That way, his impact, because it's really hard. You can kind of hide a bad defender. It's really hard to hide a bad offensive player. And by bad, I know about talent. I'm talking about understanding and not being in the right places. So we got to help him grow in that department, so then his defensive impact can be what he's capable of doing.
Did the guys, I guess you always talk about structure and cohesion. Did it meet your expectations as kind of your last dress rehearsal before the season started?
Yeah, there's no doubt. We didn't have the same energy that we usually have when that game started, and we wanted to win, and they tried to help each other, and they tried to do what I asked them to do, but our energy wasn't as good as it needed to be. And that, when you watch the film, it's the first thing that jumps out at you, especially when you're at practice every day and you see the energy that these guys prepare with. So don't ask me why. I mean, we can talk about every reason under the blue sky, whether, we took a 2-hour bus trip and got off the bus and went right to the court, whether the fact that it's a hockey arena and it's negative 30 degrees in there when you walk in there and it's freezing. We can come up with 1,000,001 reasons, but bottom line, our enthusiasm for playing, it just didn't look the same. And as the game went on, I thought we played better and harder. But it's at the beginning, I don't know, we're lacking. We're just a step slow on everything.
Is that unusual? I mean, I guess you can. It's different when the games actually matter, right? When the lights turn on and the stats actually count. Can that be just a product of having it not really be a game that played, full 40 minutes? And
yeah, no, I think it had something to do with, it's the same way we prepared the day before the game. We our returning players got really quiet. Some of our returning players were just like lackadaisical. And you got to understand when I say lackadaisical, it's in comparison to who we are every day. Like it's not like guys are just laying around the floor doing nothing. Um, but this team has trained itself to be a high octane, ultra competitive, like just enjoy the competitive part of everything. And for whatever reason, we played Saturday. So Thursday's practice was Friday's practice was not very good. Don't ask me why. I thought a couple guys had a little negative energy at the beginning of the game, um, just because it's the first time they play in front of people. And, and then Providence is pretty good. I know they're missing Hopkins, who's a really good player for them, but their perimeter, Floyd, Joseph, and I'm missing the other guy. I can't remember.
Wesley.
And no, Fernandez.
Oh, yeah, Justin, the former George Mason guy. Yeah.
Those guys are all seniors. Then you add Wesley Cardette, who's an established, really good player that's in a lot of draft boards. That's four pretty good perimeter players. And we're playing on the perimeter with Jalen Curry, sophomore, Marquise, sophomore, Jaden Jingus, sophomore, Daniel Rivera, who's been a center his whole career, now playing out in the perimeter. Those are guys who are playing out there. So it was a great experience to deal with their size, their physicality, their experience. And the great thing was that we didn't flinch. We shot 29 free throws. We only turned it over 10 times.
Yeah.
We didn't have many assists, but like I told the media, well, if you pass me the ball and I shoot 25 balls, we're going to have one assist because I'm not making too many shots anymore. You got to make shots to have assists. I thought we took good shots. We just didn't make enough. And but that's part of the journey. And playing against again a team in Providence that's built as a high major basketball program, and that's why a lot of people have Providence right at their top 20 or somewhere right outside of it. There's a reason for that.
So you've got a full week here before the season starts, and we tip things off against New Hampshire. What are some of the things that you're focusing on this week to be prepared for that game?
We got to keep cleaning up some of the things that in the Iona scrimmage, and then obviously against Providence, we haven't done as well as we need to do, both offensively and defensively. We have to we got to continue to grow, and like we've talked about this before, you and me, Jay. I don't know if we've talked about it on the podcast. Growth is really hard. Growth ain't easy. And growth means you have to put in a lot of work, and you got to develop here too. It's not just about running fast. It's about understanding where you're running fast to, and then being able to do it every day. And that's where growth comes from. And so we got to continue to grow. And just to give you the cliff notes, like this week, today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, everything we do is continuing to develop who we are. We're off Thursday, and then on Friday, it's all game prep. Now it's opponent, style of play, the things that they're consistently trying to do offensively, the things that they're consistently trying to do defensively, to try and play through our systems and our structure to attack whatever wrinkles they put in there for the things that they do. So that's the purpose of the week, and away we go, and no turning back. It's going to be one after the other here for the next 5 months.
Monday at the Mullins Center, 7:00, the 4th. We hope to see everybody there. And then, we talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, but you do have a little bit of a stretch there from Monday to Friday before you go to take on West Virginia, which will be, probably a hostile environment down at Morgantown. You guys will leave Thursday night. So you get a little bit of more understanding of who you are and growth as a team before you really have to take on an even bigger task.
Yeah, like every game is hard, and we live in a moment right now where we all overreact to a good day and to a bad day. We all overreact to winning and losing a game. It's a long journey. It's the we're all trying to play our best basketball in March. Do we want to win the next game on the schedule? Absolutely. That's why we practice and prepare. But we can't ride a roller coaster of emotions that are directly tied to winning and losing, because then how are we going to, us, the people in the locker room, how are we going to enjoy each other the next day? Because all we care about is winning and losing. We have to understand that winning and losing is a byproduct about our daily approach. And there's sometimes you do everything the right way and you still don't win. And there's sometimes you don't do things the right way and you win. You have to understand that dynamic so you can be better prepared the next day, so you in a better place the next game that comes around. And that's the, like with Rasul Diggins. I know where Rasul's at. I don't need to have a conversation with him. I just got to look at him. I already know whether he's in a good space, bad space, whether he's feeling good or not. And I know what buttons to push to get him engaged in a positive way. I'm not there with everyone else. I got an idea with some of the sophomores, but all the first year guys, they've done everything I've asked of them. But now it gets real. And, how do they handle that daily journey and that rush of emotions is something that I'm going to learn. So while we're learning all this about each other, we got to figure out a way to win games at the same time, but not lose perspective that we're trying to play our best basketball when March 1st hits.
A couple of things I wanted to ask you outside of this exhibition and the opener on Monday. Halloween coming up. Do you have a favorite or go-to Halloween candy, or one do you think is the best?
Well, I can eat M&M with peanuts by the.
It's a good one. It's my wife's favorite.
I can eat those. You can give me a bag the size of the Champion Center, and I'll just sit there and just snack on them all day. And then I'm also a Reese's peanut butter cup guy. I chocolate and peanut butter. There's an affiliate right here, right in this heart. Unfortunately, it doesn't make my heart bigger. It makes my gut bigger. But I can.
So good. Yeah. Classic. All right. You and I had talked last week.
Are you? Hold on. Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Are you a candy corn guy?
I mean, I don't dislike candy corn, but it wouldn't be one of my top 5.
I saw this years ago, and I do it every year, and I'm the only one that eats it. I'll take a big bowl, and I'll put Planters peanuts, M&M with peanuts, and candy corn in the bowl, mix it all up, and just have it
a medley.
Have it just for friends, family, whoever's at the house. Just go in there. And I know we live in this new time where we're not supposed to stick our fingers in it. Hey,
it's your house. You can have a bowl of candy.
But no one eats it because no one likes candy corn. So
or they're picking out the candy, or they're picking out the other ones, and so you're left with just candy corn. All right. You and I had talked a little bit about this off air, and the news came down last week or maybe 10 days ago. Virginia's basketball coach, Tony Bennett, retiring before the start of the season. He's really known as one of the classiest and prestigious coaches in college basketball. I just wanted to get your thoughts as to what you thought of that news, and where are we going with a guy like that stepping aside before the start of the season?
Everyone's running around super excited about all these things that are being allowed to happen now, which everyone has a different opinion on that. I'm not here to judge others' opinions. I don't force people to think like I think. I have my opinions and I have my beliefs on what's good and what's not good. But at the end of the day, I'm a team guy. And whatever the rules say, I've got to coexist under those rules. And if I don't like it, I got to walk away. And so I fully understand why Tony walked away. I haven't spoken to him. So anything I say is solely my gut. And to quote Andy Reid, I got a lot more gut now these days. But Tony, me, Izzo, all us guys that got in, that we're all in our 50s and 60s. We all got into this a while ago. We didn't get into this so we can claim how many trophies we carry around. We didn't stay in this because the seasons are easy or the money is easy. We stay in this. Why? Because we care about growth. We care about watching 18-year-olds become 22, 23-year-olds. So you take Tony Bennett, played in the NBA. If he was worried about just winning and losing in transactional relationships, he would have gone to the NBA. You know, he's an NBA player. He's a very successful coach. He go to the NBA, but he stayed in college. Why? For the same reasons Tom Izzo stayed in college. You think about all these coaches that have had a chance to make the jump to the NBA and they stay in college. Why'd they stay in college? They stayed not because they can't coach in the NBA. They stayed because they'd rather be around 18, 19-year-olds and help guide them so they can become 22, 23-year-olds that go on and find success in life.
Yeah.
We've taken that away. That's the relationship part of college athletics. That is the educational part of college athletics. We've taken that away. You watch Tony's team play. Every national media person, with the exception of John Rothstein, criticizes his team. Why? Because they play slow and they play through all five guys. They don't showcase an individual. And whether people like it or not, they used to win the ACC every year. And everyone would be like, there you go. They lose a game. There you go. It's over. I told you can't play like that. And by the end of the year, they're in the top 2 or 3 teams in the ACC every single year. Why? Because he teaches a system and he holds people accountable to play through a system, to play together. That's the way college basketball, amateur basketball, was designed to play. Now, when you're coaching a new team every single year, you know, Tony used to take his freshmen and develop them, and then when they became juniors and seniors, he'd kick your tail every time.
Yeah.
Well, now his freshmen become sophomores, and then his sophomores do well and they leave. And now he's back to coaching freshmen again. And that's not as fun as people think it is. Not for people that enjoy growth. The what we call college athletics has become, in our sport, very transactional. It's how much money is there? How much can I make? And then there's no accountability because the money doesn't come from the university. It comes from outside the university. So guys can mess up. I mean, we got coaches, you know, we talk as coaches that in conversations, they're like, yeah, man, I got guys that won't practice. Why? Like, if you're paying me $200,000 and it's got nothing to do with the university, it's from the outside the university, why would I want to run and practice every day if I'm already making $200,000? And it's irrelevant of my job.
Yeah. It's
solely based on what someone on the outside of the university thinks my value is, whatever the hell that means. And you know, like maybe we can do that with adults. You paid me $200,000 when I was 19 years old, and I come from a responsible family. I don't come from a family of a bunch of schleps that taught me how to take shortcuts. You paid me $200,000 when I was 19 years old. I wouldn't go to class.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry too much about winning games. I got $200,000 guaranteed, you know, and that's that world for guys that enjoy spending time with players, getting to know them, helping them improve. All that takes time. And in a transactional world, which is what we've created, whether we like it or not, it is what it is. It's what's there. Relationship guys don't handle that real well. And we're all fighting it right now. But I assume that's why Tony walked away, because he doesn't feel he can impact it the way he does things. He can impact the people in his program in a positive way.
Well, let me just read the quote from the ESPN article. He said, the hardest thing to say is when I looked at myself, I realized I'm no longer the best coach to lead this program in the current environment. And that's, I guess, what he highlights is kind of all the ancillary stuff that you just mentioned, which is now becoming the primary stuff. And I think of, I could be wrong on this, but I think of some of those teams, the one that lost to the 16-1 seed and then came back and won the national championship the next year. And throughout his development, there are those guys that sit for an entire season as freshmen and even don't play a ton as sophomores, as you mentioned. And then all of a sudden, you know, junior, senior year, they're dedicated, they're better, they're stronger, and they know what they're doing.
Yeah. And now those guys are leaving.
Yeah.
If they play well, they're leaving, and if they don't play well, they're leaving. And so the reason they do it, like I'm gonna use an example of someone that everyone's like, "Wow, he's so good on TV." I'd be like, "Really? Like you thought that his team's always won because he's some boring kind of like he's very intelligent and he's very personable." Is Nick Saban? Does he look on television like a guy that's tired?
Nick, no.
He looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
Do you really think that he just got tired of coaching?
Yeah, probably not. Maybe just
No, it's the same
tired
thing.
of everything that's going
Same
on.
thing.
Yeah. He
Same
looks
thing.
good he's got to be 70, right?
Yeah, but he's a young 70 because he takes care of himself. But his energy on TV is contagious. That's the way he always coached. And if we were coaching this year, I'm speaking for him right now. I got no idea why he walked away. My impression is his energy, his desire, his competitiveness to coach. You see it while he's talking the game on TV. It's that this new world that we entered. That I'd take a guess that he said, you know what, I've won championships. Here's something else with all the guys that have walked away: Kay, Boeheim, Jay Wright, Tony, Roy, Coach Saban. They've all won the championship already. They've accomplished everything. Their players have all developed and become successful men. They've lived it. They sat on top of the mountain as a coach. You don't want to, once you do all that stuff, you're not trying to reinvent yourself when you're 65 years old. Does that make sense, Jay?
Yeah.
And everyone thinks that all these coaches, we just care about ourselves. Are there coaches that all they do is care about their record? Yeah, they're like in everything else in life. But all these guys that are walking away, what kept them in was watching young people grow. And the fact that that's the last thing that matters anymore, I've already, I'm going to speak selfishly if I'm one of them. Okay, so I've made a lot of money. I've done it for 40 years. I've won championships. The moment is different right now. Whether I like it or not, it's different. I don't like the way I got to manage now. So why be in the way to make money? Let me walk away, let somebody else handle it that's better prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole nother skill set essentially of things that you have to deal with. And you can see these programs now adding different positions to help kind of mitigate it. And obviously things are still changing. But I think of him as the gentleman of college basketball. Yeah. And he'll go down as one of the greatest coaches of a generation.
Absolutely. It's like it's what I told you. I mean, the guy goes to Washington State, and all of a sudden Washington State's nationally relevant. Goes to Virginia. Virginia was in the dumpster when he got there. All of a sudden, Virginia's in the conversation for the ACC championship every single year. But yet, you think he'd be applauded that Kyle Guy and Ty Jerome and Jack Salt, all the guys that won the national championship, that they all achieved their dreams in college, went out and became pro players, have had unbelievable success in their pro careers. And DeAndre Hunter's a lottery pick and goes in and becomes, frontline guy. And then their backup, a guy named Giagate, now he becomes a starter, and then he becomes a pro when it was his turn. You think people, instead of applauding all that, all the so-called experts that got big mouths on TV, instead of applauding that, all they do is criticize. Oh, it's miserable to watch. Who wants to watch that style of basketball? Blah, blah, blah,
the
blah,
pack
blah.
line defense.
Stop, man. If you don't like college basketball, go watch the NBA.
Yeah.
It's two different games. It's two different worlds, but it's different now. And what's different is that the personal part has been separated from what we try to do. And those of us that still care for that, we're still fighting for it. And as long as I feel I can keep fighting for that and I got a chance to coach a Rasul Diggins, I'm okay. That used to be my whole team. Now it's basically 2 or 3 guys. And as long as I got 2 or 3 guys to hang on to that gives me some peace that I can try and figure out a way to earn that from the other guys too.
I wanted to, before we go, we'll give you an opportunity. This, the news that came down last week, I saw this as I was heading home the other day, and it hit me pretty hard. I'm sure it really was devastating for you to hear Amir Abdul Rahim passed away. South Florida coach. We had him here last season. Went on an incredible run. He was one of the up and coming coaches in the game. Passed away due to complications from a surgery. Did that obviously hit you hard? What would you like to say about his memory and who he was?
He was awesome. He's one of the great people that existed in this business. Forget the business and life. I mean, just a caring human being, humble, determined, unbelievable with players as an assistant and obviously as a head coach. What he did at Kennesaw State, and then to show up at South Florida and they had that place sold out, rocking and rolling. I mean, all that happened in 1 year. And like you said, we played them last year. And after the game, we were in the tunnel, and I was like, oh, Mayor, you guys are going to be good. Like, you guys have a force to how you play as you start to figure out your offensive stuff, because they have put a lot of new guys together. And I says, you guys start figuring out your offensive stuff, your force and your defensive abilities as a team, you guys got a chance to be really good. And I think they went like on a 20-game winning streak.
Yeah, I think they didn't lose again after that until late in the season.
Yeah, but he was just an incredible human being, man. It's the people he used to work for, the people that he worked with, just players, assistants, former bosses, his assistant. Like I'd be hard pressed to have anybody, administrators, anybody say a negative word about Amir. He was truly God sent to impact people in a positive way. And the fact that all of us that knew him, don't get to share him anymore, it leaves a void in us. Because I'm 58, Amir's was 43, I believe. For the last 10 years, he'd make me feel like I was his age because of his energy, his enthusiasm, his ability to uplift you. When I got fired to South Carolina, one of the calls I got was from him. And all he wanted to do was remind me of how much good I did in helping him. And I'm not saying this in a selfish manner. He went to work for a guy named Billy Kennedy, who's a dear friend at Texas A&M. And that's when I got to know Amir pretty good. And he was like, Frank, you don't understand how much you helped me in that moment. And there's a lot of us in this business that your words are the ones that give us hope to keep fighting. And now it's our turn to help you. And I'm like, that's the kind of human being he was. It's just a powerful, powerful guy.
Yeah. That's pretty much all the things that I've read about him as well. And just a brief encounter with him last year, but truly some sad news. So I just wanted to touch on that and send our thoughts and prayers to his family and to everybody that knew him and the impact that he had in this world. So, Coach, we'll be thinking about him this season for sure. Absolutely. And we'll get this season started next week, 7:00 against New Hampshire. Hope to see everybody there.
Here we go, baby. Here we go.
Yep. Let's do it.
Space Mountain. Get ready to start.
You and I will talk next Tuesday after that first contest. Can't wait.
Looking forward to it, Jay. Let's get all our fans to come support us, man. It's like I've gone around campus, spoken to different groups, and I've told everybody, if you give yourself a chance to come watch us once, this team's going to make you come watch them again. They're fun to be around. They do things the right way. They play with an energy and a pride for that uniform that as a coach, I know I already respect, so I know our fans are going to respect it too. So, and then we're going to do everything in our power to earn our fans' trust because we need their help. Yeah. We need teams and I'll leave you with this, Jay. So we obviously did some things well last year. We went from the bottom of the league to the top four in the league. Well, the teams that finish above us in the league, they all have the best home court environments in the league, including VCU, who's tied with us. Every team from VCU up have the best home court environments in the league. Well, we got to create that. If we're going to put ourselves in that conversation and figure out a way to sustain that conversation, That means that we have to win our home games, and fans are a big, big part of creating that home court environment. We got to do our part, and we're trying to do our part. Now we got to earn our fans their trust, their respect, so they can sacrifice their time and their money and their energy to come help us on game day. So we can now compete with those teams and go from 4-1. It's when you're at the bottom, moving up is hard. It's never easy. But the higher you go, the harder it gets to continue to move up. And that's where everything coming together is such a big, big part of building a winning program.
Comes down to one basket, 1 point sometimes, and that home court environment makes all the difference. I just think of all the close games that you played last year and how much that matters when the game is on the line and down the stretch. So, Coach, good luck on Monday, and we'll talk to you next week. He is head coach Frank Martin, just being Frank. My name's Jay Burnham. Until next time, we'll see you.